moment for Halifax Rugby League.
Austin is through and Warrington dominating. Great try for the Robins. Huddersfield Giants take the points home. It's There's a poor lad. That is one sensational try.
Look, Gale with a drop goal. Leeds gather round in jubilation.
It's hit the post. It's Wellesby. Wellesby might have got the try. St Helens are champions once again.
Hello there, it's been 119 days since one of the greatest finals ever. The Betfred Super League is back.
Everyone starts equal. Standing at the start line. No games played. No points on the board. But that's not the whole story. Start from the same place, but don't start together. Work, sweat, strain to be better.
Beats one man, he's just got Gale to beat, he's beaten him, but what a way to get your first try of the season. Hardacre has burst through, great offload, brilliant Castleford try, and it's that man again.
The year that's been can inform the year that's to come. Revel in it, learn from it, build on it. Place it in the trophy cabinet or put a line through it. Because the past doesn't define you, but this season just might. Be ready for it.
Ready for a superstar!
Legends reborn, champions coming home. New faces, new talents, the same unrivaled intensity.
Jumps in the corner! Oh my word!
This is 2021. This is the Betfred Super League. Be ready.
Be ready, and it starts on Friday night. All 6 games from round 1 are live on Sky Sports. We're going to be here every Tuesday at 7 o'clock, not just covering the Betfred Super League, we'll be covering the Championship League 1, the Women's Super League, the wheelchair game as well. All rugby league here on the last tackle every Tuesday, 7 o'clock. Let's introduce the team for the next hour. They both know about winning grand finals. It's Paul Sculthorpe. Thanks for coming in, Scully. And Adrian Morley. Gents, how excited are you, Scully?
Very. You know, it's been a long time coming, hasn't it, since that grand final, and what a game we finished on. So yeah, it's very much looking forward to the season kicking off. And
it's a year since we went in the first lockdown. We need live sport. It's kept me going.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, I'm the same as you, Mark. I've really missed the live sport, particularly rugby league. We've had the NRL for a couple of weeks in Australia, but it's not the same as Super League in my opinion. We've had a delayed start, but now it's very, very exciting, and I can't wait to get watching.
I mentioned it was one of the greatest finals ever. It was St Helens versus Wigan. Let's look back. It was November last year.
Wow, it has taken 10 months to get here, but after a season of turmoil, sacrifice, and at times desperation, Super League has reached its finale. Again, leading the tackling effort. Hastings, oh, Gilder gets the pass away. Harnaker skips infield. Harnaker, can he get the ball down? Great defence from the Saints. It's kick from Coots. And there's a penalty there. Coots on target. Brings down the Cumbrian. Roby. Lomax. Oh, he thought it had opened up, and then Tommy Luluai arrived. Not so fast, son. Roby. Little kick from Roby. The ball bounces up for Zebtea. And Taya dots it down. Did he run out of room? Was he offside? No try, said Chris Kendall. Powell. Here is Jackson Hastings. Hastings to Luluai. They're coming to this side again. They're coming to Bibby again. And Bibby will get in. Looking for a way through this Wigan defence. Fage was taken out by Hastings. And that, is it a penalty though? Chris Kendall is...
They've been hammer and tongue for 71 minutes.
That was high. Coots. He's on target. They're in range. Makinson got his first career drop goal last season in the grand final. Oh! He's hit the post. The chasers are on. The ball is distant there. It's Wellesby. Wellesby might have got the try. Jack Wellesby might have got the try. What a finish. What a finish. A surreal season has reached the conclusion that some thought might never happen. It has. It has reached the most dramatic of conclusions, and St Helens are champions once again.
Yeah, St Helens champions once again. Right then, Scully, you sat there in the build-up to that game. We were just delighted we were having a grand final after the year we had, and then what a grand final we got.
What a game it was! I mean, you couldn't separate the teams, could you? And to be fair, either team could have won it. A special moment there from Tommy Mack with the drop goal, but for Jack Wellesby to chase like he did and to pull it off. I've seen some big finishes on games. I was involved in one of them at the Wide to West, and I thought that'd never ever be eclipsed, and that certainly pushed it.
It was a hell of a final. It had everything, didn't it? Post being hit as well. Incredible.
It did. It weren't a high-scoring affair, but that didn't make it.
It was intensity.
No less exciting. Yeah, it was one of them games you just couldn't take your eyes off it, and for 80 minutes there was nothing in it. Scully just said, I was looking forward to golden point, extra time. We didn't quite get that, but what a lesson for young kids about chasing kicks and never giving up. And he'll obviously remember that moment for the rest of his life. But for the drama and the excitement, I don't think it'll ever be beat, that grand final.
It showed Super League at its best, didn't it? Because the intensity, the fight from both teams.
Yeah, I mean, it was a brilliant game on the biggest stage. You've got to say what a great job Super League did of the staging the final as well. To say there were no crowd, we were fortunate to be in the stadium, and I always tell people, I said there was an unbelievable atmosphere there, even with nobody. So imagine how it'd be, what it'd be like when it was full. Hopefully this year, but yeah, just. What a game that the two teams put out on the biggest stage. You could tell that it was a grand final. It raised from a standard Super League game. And
you're involved behind the scenes with England. We've got to, pay credit to the RFL and the Super League for even getting us there, because people won't understand the protocols you've got to go through are just huge at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah, it's massive, and people don't see it. What is involved in getting players to training, to games, and the job that they did. Being able to move stadia, to put all games on. Credit to Sky as well for the work they did, and to be able to showcase Super League like we did under them circumstances, and respect to the clubs, the players, the staff, and everybody else who got us to there. And it just typified, the game of rugby league, the resilience to then pull off a final like we did, and showcase that.
We want you to get involved as well, so get involved on Twitter or Facebook. Come on, get the comments in. I know I need a haircut. I know I look like Paulie out of Sopranos. If you want to get it off your chest, I do need a haircut. I think I'm booked in on the 22nd of April or something like that. Lewis is with us for the comments. Lewis, what we got so far?
Yeah, well, interesting, watching that back. There's comments throughout the day, and Scully there mentioned about Wide to West. Somebody said on Twitter earlier, what happens when you sign for Saints? They hypnotise you or something. How do they keep that up? So many years now, Saints teams, they're never beaten, are they?
No, I mean, it's always something we spoke about, that you're never beaten until that final whistle, Lewis, and that's certainly, I think, something that's drilled in you at Saints, and there's been a few special moments.
Right, let's move on and start our build-up to the new season. There's only one place to start, I'm afraid, Moz. We're going to have to let him talk for a bit and talk about St Helens. And let's hear from their coach, Christian Wolf.
We start every year wanting to be successful in that year and in that competition, and this year is no different there. We're certainly starting the year wanting to be successful, and that means that we're playing in the big games and we're giving ourselves a chance of winning the big games. So I don't think it changes there. It adds to the challenge, that's for sure. And to be at the top of your game for the last couple of years, as this group has, you've got to be a really disciplined, really hungry group. And we're going to make sure that we find that hunger again and find that same discipline again and drive again. And all the energy and effort that you put into winning a competition, we need to do that again. And that's the challenge. And every other team's getting a little bit stronger, and they're certainly hungry in terms of chasing. So What I've seen in this group so far is that we're every bit that again in terms of all those things I mentioned before. And the blokes are doing everything that they can at the moment to be a little bit fitter, a little bit stronger, play a little bit better footy and make sure that we're really prepared. But the challenge really comes once we get playing games, and I've got no doubt that this group's really up to that challenge as well.
Saints won it on 8 occasions, won it the last 2 years, kind of make it 3 on a bounce. Let's get the unbiased opinion first of all, okay? Right, how good has this Saints side been the last couple of seasons, Moz?
Absolutely fantastic. They've proved they've been the best team, and even when they didn't win it the year before, there was by far the best side. So for the last 3 years, they've been the best side. And Justin Holbrook was a fantastic coach, and I'm really impressed with what I'm hearing with Christian as well. So they're getting the coaching set up right, and that's filtering down into the players. So I think they'll be the team to beat again this year. But if you remember last year, they did start a bit scratchy. It took them probably 6 or 7 weeks before they really, found the form, and other teams will be open to knock them off early doors. But you've got to say they're going to be up there again at the end of the year.
You knew Justin Holbrook. I know you inherited a good side, Christian Wolf, but how impressive is it to win it in your first season as coach?
Oh, it's extremely hard. You're right, though. He did have a fantastic squad who were used to winning, and there's a difference there. You can have a load of great players, but if they've not got the winning mentality, you might struggle. But they were used to winning, and he did a great job with him. And I was really pleased for James Graham to go out as a winner like he did. So, I think there's only Leeds who have won it 3 times on the bounce.
Yep.
Am I right? So they'll be going for
07 to 09.
Yeah, so they'll be going for that record. But
you left, Moz.
That's right. Yeah. Well, you'll be a brave man to bet against them, but there'll be a number of teams open to they don't get 3 on the bounce.
Let's just have a look how the season finished last year. This is a regular season. Actually, Wigan won the regular season. Saints finished second. And again, this year will be on win percentage, unfortunately. You've got to mention the C word, of course, COVID-19. 7 more players unavailable. You can withdraw from the fixture. 18 of the 25 fixtures have got to be completed. And the top 6 will play off. Look, I think it's unfortunately sensible to have something in place just in case, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. It's got to be, because we want to get through to where we got last year, and who knows what will happen. So it's fair. Everybody knows the score before a ball is kicked, and let's hope we don't have to use some of them conditions, but they're there if need be.
So we've heard from Christian Wolf saying all the right things. It starts again, etc. Is that how the squad will be feeling?
Yeah, very much so, and I think that would probably been the start, same as the start of last year, because I think going into a new season as champions, you're always the one under pressure. You're always the one that everybody wants to knock off, and as Moz said, Saints started quite slow. Last year before the lockdown period, obviously had a good lockdown and come back flying. So I think they're under pressure, but you mentioned Justin Holbrook, you mentioned and Christian Wolf. I think their jobs, they've got a great squad of players. Their job is getting the best out of them players and managing them the right way, and they've had 2 great guys being able to do that. And I think this year, as you said, biased or unbiased, I think they're the team to beat.
And what about the additions? Joel Thompson stands out for me.
Yeah, he's got all the experience, hasn't he? I think they've made some good signings. Obviously, Parsi and Sione Metalci is one I'm really looking forward to seeing. He's in the peak of his career. He's obviously very, very well thought of at Newcastle Knights, and I think he was a tremendous signing. So, very much looking forward to him. And again, the younger players who have come through, like Sir Wellesby is another year older, another year more experienced. On top of that, a fit Matt Percival, and you look at the spine through the team. There's some quality players. So, things can change with COVID, with injuries. So it's. But on paper, at the start of the year, you've got to say Saints are favourite.
And talking about the spine, what season Lachlan Coote had?
Yeah, I mean he's an outstanding player, isn't he? We knew that he was a massive coup when they signed him, and he's certainly not letting anybody down. There were big boots to fill when coming off the back of Ben Barber leaving as Man of Steel, and for me, the best of the two of them. I just think he's got so many facets of his game, and as we've seen in the grand final as well, a tremendous goal kicker.
So we've still got 45 minutes to fill, but obviously Saints are going to win it. Well, look, Saints are joint favourites for the grand final. They're going to be. So do you think they're going to be up there, obviously?
I think
1-2?
Yeah, I think they'll be up there. But I just want to go on record and say I think this will be the most evenly contested Super League on record. There's a number of other teams there who are going to put their hand up. I think Hull FC and Huddersfield, them types of teams are going to really make a push for the top four. I think
one of your outside Leeds as well, a bit of stability.
Leeds and Warrington, it's always Warrington's year, but they've had the best squad, in my opinion, for the last 4 or 5 years, but they've never actually fulfilled that and gone all the way to Old Trafford and got the win. So, if Warrington can get it right, they could be in with a shout as well. But just excited about the number of names in the ring. But you're right, Saints will be up there, but it's a case of who's going to get there and challenge them.
Yeah, so Saints and Wigan are joint favs at the moment to win the grand final in 2021. That should be. Look at that. We're already looking ahead to next season already. That should be 2021. Let's hope it doesn't last that long this season. So joint favourites for this season. So let's turn our attention to the other joint favourites, Wigan, and obviously John Bateman. What a signing!
Great signing. He's a fan's favourite. He was when he left, and then he's had 2 super years in the NRL. The Dally M second rower of the year in your first year in the NRL is pretty special, and he's a competitor, John. That's what he is, and he's certainly going to add that intensity into that Wigan side.
And great to have him back as well. I mean, we'll touch on it later. World Cup year as well. Great to have John Bateman back.
It is, yeah. I mean, Super League. We want the best British players over here, and he's certainly up there. Is one of them, if not the best second rower in the world at the moment. So to get him back on our shores is a massive coup for Wigan, but a massive coup for the Super League as well. So we'll be interested to see how he goes. If he shows any form like he has shown in the NRL, we're in for a treat. But when he left Wigan, Scully just said he was a fan's favourite, and people love his style and the way he plays, myself included. So I'm looking forward to him playing.
And you mentioned James Graham obviously finishing as a winner. Sean O'Loughlin was on the Wigan side, didn't. What a career Sean has had at Wigan. And obviously John's going to be wearing his shirt. Big shirt to fill.
Massive boots to fill there. And it was great last year. Lockers and James Graham, 2 modern greats of our sport, and one of them had to go out a winner, one had to go out a loser, and unfortunately for Lockers it was Jammer who got the ring. But fantastic career Lockers has had, and you just mentioned Bateman's taking over his shirt. Big boots, but if anyone can fill him, I'm sure John can.
Well, let's hear from John, who spoke to Lewis.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, mate. Been a long pre-season, but a few of the boys have got over it now, and we're all ready to go, mate. It should be good. Don't feel like yesterday since I was here, but it actually has been a while. We've been well over 2 years, so I'm looking forward to just getting out there and just enjoying it, mate. That's what all the occasion's about, and I just want to get back on the field with the lads. I think we need to take it one game at a time, and we need to turn up. Obviously, it's all right. People saying we've got a good squad and stuff like that. If we don't do it on the field, it doesn't really matter to the fair, mate. So we're just looking forward to putting bit of the stuff that we've been doing in pre-season in a reality and doing it on the game day next week. Obviously, where they got last year, it's pretty disappointing that I didn't get the extra line, but we've just got to keep on building, mate. Obviously, it's about doing the little things and having the fundamentals, and hopefully I could bring that to my game. Obviously, something a bit different. Obviously, attacking where I am and stuff, and bring a bit of solid, obviously, D to myself and go from there, mate. It's pretty hard to put a pinpoint on what I'm going to bring, but I just bring myself and play my game, and hopefully get my game working with obviously Tommy and stuff like that if I'm on the edge, or the middles if I'm in the middle, and just work from there, mate, and obviously build throughout the season, which I'm really excited about.
Great to see him back in the Super League, and great to see him talking so positively as well. Yeah, it is. To get back in the Super League and really be excited to be back. I love my time in the NRL, but coming back, there's something about being English and playing in England in the sport we love. So great that he's back. He looks really, really revved up. So looking forward to seeing him in action, and Did you feel a bit of added pressure when you came back then? Because you did well in Australia as well, like John's done.
Yeah, very much so. It's a double-edged sword, really. You feel the pressure going down under because you're representing England and your country and the Super League. But then if you do well and then come back, there's a lot of expectation on you, which I'm sure it will be. But being professionals, you can use that pressure as a positive, which I did, and certainly Gaz Ellis, people like that did. So looking forward, and I think a lot of players who do play in the NRL come back a better player. So if he can come back an even better player than he went, we're in for a rare treat.
And how do Wigan pick themselves up after that final? Well,
it was heartbreaking, wasn't it? But if you look at it, in black and white, there was nothing in the game. They weren't outclassed or beaten 40 points to nil, anything like that. So they'll take confidence from it, even though it was pretty heartbreaking. And league leaders, I think there's not a great deal of focus put on that, but that's a fantastic achievement to finish top of the pile at the end of the year. They are league leaders. They come within a whisker of winning the grand final, so they'll go into this 2021 very, very confident, and with a great addition like John Bateman. I think that they'll count themselves very very confident and very going to put themselves in with a good shout.
The Wigan squad looks strong.
It does. Looks very strong. They've got a lot of players who've got that experience now, who are pushing for regular starts. Guys like Ollie Partington, who are going to be that much better off as well. But obviously some big names coming in, and John Bateman is one that stands out. When he spoke there about just being himself, and John Bateman being John Bateman, he's just going to be an out-and-out competitor, but he's going to drive other players as well to go with him, and that is massive for Wigan. They've got a great spine of a team, from Bevan French, Jackson Hastings, Tommy Luluai, who's now got the captaincy, obviously with Sean O'Loughlin leaving. And we spoke about Lockers, in the back end of his career, about the influence that he had. No, it wasn't necessarily about what he did with the ball and what.
And he's still about, isn't he?
Well, now he's on the coaching staff, so he's still going to have that influence around these players. And John Bateman's the new number 13. He's going to have Lockers in his ear every day. So, it's a very, very strong Wigan side, and as Moz said about the grand final, they won't look back on last year with disappointment. I don't think anybody could have argued if the game had gone the other way. It was literally the flip of a coin, how it finished. But that's the great thing with sport.
It's quite a young squad as well, isn't it?
It is a young squad.
Chucking people like Jackson Hastings as well,
Yeah, I mean, and Jackson's still young. What people forget, he's got that experience. They've got Jai Field now over from Parramatta, and it's going to be interesting to see how Adrian Lamb plays his players and obviously there's young Harry Smith who's had plenty of experience last year. The way he's going to rotate his key players.
And I think we've got to give credit to Adrian Lamb as well, because when he took over, obviously the uncertainty, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was.
He's dug in, got on with it. He got into a grand final.
He has, yeah, and all the points Scully made there, within a whisker of winning the grand final, League Leaders Shield. He's done an incredible job, really, at the end of the day. So they'll take confidence from that going forward. And John Bateman, we've mentioned him, but I was really, really impressed with Bevan French last year. I thought he was the best fullback and the most exciting player in Super League. He'll be better for the experience last year as well. So expecting big things from him as well.
Where do Wigan finish then?
Second, I think they'll be up there, and I think it'll be quite rightly so. Saints and Wigan are the two favourites, but I think they'll be up there. And then when the playoffs come about, it's anyone's game and anyone's competition. Then.
What are you going to say? 12th or second?
No, for me, Saints and Wigan are the two stand out. As you say, it could be the flip of a coin. I think they're both littered with tremendous players. One Wigan player I want to give a mention to as well is Sam Powell. I think last year was probably his best season in a Wigan jersey. I've had the pleasure of working with Sam, and he's an ultimate professional who adds a lot to that. And I think now he's got that bit of seniority in the side as well. I think you're going to see another good year from him.
Lewis, give us some comments from social media.
Yeah, the comments are coming in, Mark, and keep them coming in so I can put these questions to the fellas. We've got Adam, I think he's one of Scully's mob. He says, "Let's go, champs." Wayne thinks that Leeds will be getting their hands on that trophy again. Ooh. And of course, We've got an England and a Great Britain captain with us. We've spoken about John Bateman. Moz, do you think you might be letting John into your exclusive club at the end of the year? There's a vacancy.
I think I might have to let him in the club, yes.
You mentioned Leeds then, one of your old clubs, of course, Moz. Let's turn our attention to him. I think we've got some stability now, finally, with Richard Agar. They won the Challenge Cup as well, of course. They went out in the playoffs, made a couple of good signings. Certainly Carl Eastman, I think, is very, very interesting. Luke Gale's really filled those captaincy boots as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think they're going to be up there. Certainly playoff material, but I think they still are in a rebuilding phase. There was fantastic, probably the most successful Super League team in the summer era anyway. But obviously they had a couple of years where they dropped off. But Rich Agar has steadied the ship. But I still think they're just rebuilding. I don't think they're good enough this year to actually go all the way. But they are going in that direction. They've got a very young team. A couple of unfortunate injuries. I know Wacker, the fullback, Jack Walker, and Harry Newman are still struggling, but them two are absolutely incredible prospects for the game and for England. But unfortunately, they won't be featuring early on in the piece. But they will be competitive, and rugby league winning becomes a habit. If they can go on a bit of a run, who knows? They could be putting their hand up. But I just think it's probably a year too soon for Leeds.
Yeah, I agree with everything Moz said, and yourself. They've got that stability now through Richard Agar. Obviously, Longy's up there as well, assistant coach, which his knowledge of the game is second to none. It'd be interesting. Some of these younger players, Moz mentioned a couple there. Jack Walker, obviously, he had injury problems last year, but Harry Newman for me was one of the standout centres while he was playing before his injury. I'm looking forward to seeing can these guys now step up to being like Mikolaj Ledsky? Mick's played at England Knights. He's a young up and coming front rower. He's big enough and he's got all the ability. Can he now stamp his mark on Super League to be one of the outstanding props in the game? So yeah, I don't think they're there or thereabouts. I think they're still in that transition period, but they're going to compete and they've got some good players as well.
Well, we mentioned him. Let's hear from the Leeds coach, Richard Agar.
Yeah, well, we feel that the DNA of our club demands that we play a good brand of football, so that's what we're aiming to do. We felt that at periods last year we played some really exciting stuff. I thought we started the season particularly well in that, so we feel it's imperative for us that we're a team that tries its utmost to play a good brand of rugby league. Of course, the teams that generally finish in the top two teams usually have the best defensive record, so there's some areas of improvement for that for us. But again, we'd love to sort of carry on the traditions of the successful teams that's been at the Rhinos in the past and be a team that really enjoys playing rugby.
There's the Leeds coach Richard Agar. They lost to the Catalans last year in the playoffs, but they won the Challenge Cup.
Yeah, Leeds are capable of winning big games. Richie said it there. They're a club within the DNA that they expect to win trophies. You look at your Wigans, your Saints, your Leeds. They're clubs and fans who demand success, and that's what they'll be striving for. They won the Challenge Cup. They're going to be there or thereabouts, no doubt.
I think so. Yeah, I mean, there's three pieces of silverware on offer. There's the League Leaders Shield, the Challenge Cup, and the Grand Final. And to get your hands on any of them would be classed as a successful season. So, yeah, Leeds will be happy with last year. They'll be hoping to build on that. And interesting to see how they're going to go there. We've just mentioned this rebuilding phase, and Kevin Sinfield's at the top. He's steadied the ship along with Richard Agar.
Definitely, because they were in a bit of turmoil, weren't they?
Yeah, they were. Yeah, and it's unheard of for a club as big as Leeds to be in the trouble they were. However, they were in the problem stage for long, and now onwards and upwards for Leeds, but they'll hopefully use the Challenge Cup success as a bit of a springboard for bigger and better things, but be interesting to see how they go.
And a quick word on our skipper Luke Gale, who comes and does the shows with us. Now, he didn't want the captaincy in these circumstances, but he's really grown into a role, hasn't he, and done a fantastic job.
Yeah, Gale is he's a leader. He's a leader. He's a very, very influential player. You know, he's a smart player on the field. He's in a position where he runs the show. So I'm a big fan of Gale. You know, he's a great bloke as well, and I think he's something that Leeds needed at that time. You know, a bit of stability, you know, a bit of leadership, and he's done a great job. And the thing is with Gale as well, he can turn it on when it matters on the big stage. We've seen it in the Challenge Cup final. We've seen it a couple of playoffs before at Castleford. You know, to get them through to the grand final. He's a big game player.
And what could Kyle Eastman add?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Obviously, you know, I was with Kyle at Saints. You know, he's not played a Super League game since 2011, and to go back in a half-back role.
It's a long time, isn't it?
It's a very, very different game, and certainly different than he's played, you know, inside centre in rugby union. So there's going to be a learning curve, but as I say, he's working with one of the best in Sean Long as well. Who, you know, I think it's a case of Kyle. You know, for me, he was always a very individual player anyway. I wouldn't be loading Kyle with too much information. Just say, listen, go out. He's a naturally gifted player. Go out and play.
So where will Leeds finish then?
I've got Leeds 3rd or 4th, probably 4th.
Top 6 for the playoffs.
Yeah, top 6. I think if they don't make the playoffs, it'll be a really, really disappointing season for everyone concerned.
Lewis.
Yeah, well, there's a few big stories in Super League at the moment. One of the ones that I think is going to rumble on there is a vacancy, of course, at Halliwell Jones. Steve Price leaving at the end of the season. We're not sure who's taking over yet, but I'm going to do my best to get the exclusive. Moz, is it you?
No.
He can't manage himself.
Categorically tell you it's not going to be me, but
social manager.
It's a funny one. I mean, you don't know whether it's obviously him and his family want to go back to Australia, or the club have said this is your final year, but let's not read too much into it. But normally they wait till the end of the year to make this announcement, but it might work in the club's favour that they know it's his last year. You know, the players only got 1 year to play under him, so it'll be interesting to see how they go. Yeah.
Look, as a former skipper, going out in the first playoff game is not good enough for Warrington, is it? No. I've mentioned before, I think Warrington under Sam and Ran have probably had the best squad, you know, over the last 4 or 5 years without actually getting the big one. So you've got to say they've underachieved. They have won the Challenge Cup, but it's the grand final and the ring they want. So they have underachieved. And you've been close to it, haven't you? Yeah. You know, you're there. Yeah, number of grand finals without actually getting the win. But I'm really, really excited for Greg Inglis. I mean, if he can bring any type of form that was replicate his old, you know, form in the NRL, we are in for a treat, because he was the best player in the world by a long shot, really. So it all depends on how his body is in terms of injuries and how Steve Price is going to have to look after him, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But if you know, Greg thinks he's up to the task and the challenge, and the club think he is, you know, there's no reason why he can't hit them heights again, and he could really be the X factor. Still got a fantastic squad in and around Greg, but he could be the final nail in the coffin to the grand final. Great to see Greg Inglis in the Super League.
It is, you know, as Moz says, you know, one of the best players to grace our game, and I don't think Greg Inglis would put his name to a signing if he didn't think he were up to it. You know, I speak regularly to one of the Warrington coaching staff, and he just says whatever Greg Inglis's physical position at the moment, obviously, you know, he's had 2 years out of the game. There's going to be a time to get him back up to full speed, or as full speed as it can be. He said, but what he's been is inspirational to other teammates and certainly the young kids in driving standards. You know, you don't get to be one of the best in the NRL and play so many state of origin and kangaroos unless you've got that, and it's something that obviously he's brought with him.
Well, let's hear from a Warrington stalwart still up for it. It's Chris Hill.
It's been a long pre-season for the boys. So with then the extra 2 weeks, we got put back on. We was been gagging for a game now, probably for about 2 or 3 weeks. But you know, when we testimonial last week, probably come at the right time, and we had a good hit out, and now we're ready to go. It's been tough as ever. I think it's been my first one since I joined in my full pre-season anyway. You don't usually get a lot of the pre-season with the international, so it's been tough. We've had the ups and downs on it, so we've been peaking and then bringing it back down for a week or so and then going again. So with the 2 weeks added on, made it harder for the conditioners to get the load and stuff like that right. But no, we're all flying, and as you could probably see against Lee, boys looked in decent shape. Yeah, every year we're obviously confident. We've just got to tidy up a few areas over the last few years, and we seem to have done that in pre-season. But it's different kettle of fish. We need to get into the season now, and we don't need to be hitting our straps early. As you probably see, it's a long all year. We don't need to be flying at the beginning. You've got to time it right. So no, we're ready. Like I said, there'll be a lot of ups and downs throughout the year, but we're confident as a group of blokes. We'll be thereabouts.
Chris Hill, ups and downs throughout the year. That's what you've got to prepare for in the Super League, haven't you?
Yeah, without doubt. I think Chris hit the nail on the head there. You don't have to start 100 miles an hour. You just need to time your run, and then we all know when it's the most important at the end of the year. But I'm really, really pleased for Chris. I just want to mention his testimonial. He's been a great stalwart for the game and for the Warrington Wolves. So he had his game last week, and he's got a year of fundraising now. But he was one of my favourite teammates and my good mate Chris. So well done to Chris. But it sounds like they're going about the business, Warrington. And he mentioned before, I didn't really think about that with there not being any internationals. It's amazing what a full pre-season can do to a season international. Like me and Scully probably didn't get many full pre-seasons because we always had the international duties, but to have a good couple of months of training, it helps you, not only at the start of the year, but to perform throughout the year. So it'll be interesting to see how Chris goes. But yeah, listening to him now, he sounds confident, and he sounds like he's confident in the team as well.
He's been an outstanding player in the Super League, hasn't he?
He has. He's a great leader. He's Chris. He's captained Warrington for a number of years and led the way with his performance. If you know him as a bloke, he's a great fella, and full deserving of his testimonial. And like Moz said, players like Chris Hill don't usually have this break, have the chance for pre-season. I know this spoke at Saints about James Roby over the off period through COVID. Players like that and like Chris Hill have never had a 3-month break like that, and then have a break at the end of the year leading into a full pre-season. He won't have had that for years because of international duties. So, to see that this year, throughout the game, our top players should be flying.
This could be a huge year, couldn't it? With the World Cup as well.
It could, and I know Chris as well. Warrington have signed a couple of good young props as well, so they'll be hot on his heels for his position. So he'll be wanting a big year and lead from the front.
Right, you've tipped them before. Where are we going to finish this year?
I think they'll finish third in the Super League. However, in the playoffs, I'm going to go for a Warrington. This is going to be Warrington's year. So they're going to do it for Steve Price, and they're going to do it for Chris Hill and his testimonial year. So there you go.
I've heard it before.
I know, yeah, I've said it before, but no, I think they've got a great chance. The squad's obviously still great. Greg Inglis could be the X factor, but I just think all the players think the world of Steve Price. I think that could be another factor as well. Let's do it for Pricey on his last year.
Where do Warrington finish, Jan?
Yeah, top six. I'd say 3. On paper, Warrington should win it. We know that, and we say it every year. And through the Simon Moran era, they by far probably spent the most money in Super League, but unfortunately, it's not won on paper. It's consistently week in, week out, and that's something Warrington have struggled with, and I think it's something the big name players have struggled with. And I think if Warrington have got to be successful, then players have got to play week in, week out and lift everybody else with them.
Well, that's 4 teams down. We've still got 8 to talk about. We will talk about the other 8 as well. And plenty of people are talking about Hull FC. Let's hear from their coach, Brett Hodgson.
Yeah, look, I was actually part of the interview process where I established where I felt the club could improve. And what processes we could put in place in order to make that happen. I think the fact that consistency was a major issue for this club for a number of years. And in order to be consistent, we have to make sure that we're training at consistently high levels and pushing the boundaries of what we're doing. and making sure that those connections and combinations are there to ensure that when times are tough during games, that everyone's working hard for each other. So, look, we haven't spoken of where we want to go this year. We haven't spoken about finals or grand finals or winning Challenge Cup or anything, because the fact is that as a team, we're not near that time of the year anyway that we start worrying about that. So we'll put the blocks in place over this next 8 weeks, and have done for the past 4 weeks, to ensure that we're prepared for round one. Whether we play our best rugby at round one will be, we don't have to, but we have to be ready to go and make sure that we're winning as many battles along the way to give ourselves a chance.
Brett Hodgson there. Scully, I think you nailed it, didn't he? Consistency, because I've watched Hull some weeks and thought, God, they're world beaters and they're going to challenge, and then they've thrown in a shocker the next week.
Yeah, it is consistency, and that's obviously something that's been pinpointed by Brett. It will be interesting to see how they go this year with change of coach. Obviously previous years, with Lee Radford and Andy Last, who have played through Hull. I've played with a lot of them players who they were coaching. So maybe it's something that they did need, a bit of a new face, and somebody being ruthless. I think Brett's got to be ruthless to get success at Hull FC, and maybe change. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it's obviously a cultural problem in why some weeks you can be good, why some weeks you can be poor. You've got to get that standard up, and that's something Brett will be aiming to do to show that consistency, because we know on the day that Hull FC are capable of beating anybody. You look at some of the players that they've got, but it's like to Jake Connor. He needs to step up this year. He needs to take some responsibility and not float in and out of games like he's tended to. He's got all the ability in the world, but he's got to do that for 80 minutes every week.
And Josh Reynolds, good signing.
Yeah, I mean he's a big name, isn't he? He's not played a lot over the 3 years, and he's obviously at times a controversial character. But it's a big signing for Hull FC, and obviously Brett will know him from Australia, and has got confidence in him to come over and lead their side.
Because at the best, Moz, Hull can dominate you, can't they?
Oh, without a doubt, they're a fantastic squad, and you mentioned the consistency, but you're right. Too many of the big guns didn't fire, or they used to fire every few weeks. But I'm really excited to see what Brett Hodgson can bring to the table as well. Having played with Brett, I know he's got a great rugby league brain, and if he can influence his great squad with his rugby prowess, hopefully we'll see another one of the big guns. But great squad, and if they can get it right, they could be up there in the playoffs without a doubt.
So where do we finish? Playoffs, top six?
I think top six, yeah. And if they're getting a bit of roll in the Challenge Cup, I think Challenge Cup's easier to win than the grand final. So I think anyone can put their hat in the ring for the Challenge Cup.
There's a lot less teams in the Challenge Cup this year as well, of course.
Exactly, yeah. But no, I think playoffs and a good run in the Challenge Cup, that'll be a successful year for Brett and Hull.
Yeah, I think with the players that they've got, certainly top six. It's knowing what you're going to get from Hull. If they can be consistently good week in, week out, they could be anywhere up to top.
Lewis.
Yeah, well, Hull FC's consistency is one of the big sub-stories every season, isn't it? They never quite seem to get it right. One of the other ones this season, of course, that everyone seems to be talking about, two teams being mentioned in the same sentence a lot, Salford and Huddersfield, for obvious reasons. But Scully, Huddersfield, dark horses?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's going to be a lot of talk in there about obviously Ian Watson's move, and and some of the.
He's signed about 30 players, hasn't he?
there's definitely a big shift in on the playing roster. A couple of good signings. Obviously.
And lads he knows, like Josh Jones.
Yeah, Josh Jones, Luke Yates from Salford, who is he's had before and has obviously got confidence in, and Ian's a smart footballer. We've seen that from what he's done at Salford. So a good mate of mine and Moz's.
Yeah.
Good fella, and it'd be interesting. Can he take Huddersfield now to that next level?
Yeah, well, that's the question. I mean, he did a fantastic
job
what he did
at Salford.
Fantastic.
Grand final.
Yeah.
Challenge Cup final. Look, without giving away any secrets or whatever, did he feel that he'd reached the end of the road at Salford, unfortunately? Was that it?
Possibly.
He's certainly got more dough at Huddersfield, hasn't he?
Well, that's the thing. That might have been another factor as well. He might have asked for more resources at Salford. They weren't available for one reason or another, and he might have thought, without another couple of signings, I can't take them to the next level, but we'll never know. But we can speculate all you want. However, but I do know he is a fantastic coach. He's gone there with more resources.
And so he's ambitious as well.
He is ambitious, and he wants to win things. But he's gone there. I mean, even though because it's only Huddersfield, he can still live in Salford. He doesn't have to uproot his family, which is another factor. So it's only half an hour down the road. He's got a bit more money at his disposal. So I think they have spent up to the salary cap. So if anyone can get another Super League club in the top 6 and in the mix, I think it's going to be Ian Watson. So really interested to see how Ian goes.
Well, let's hear from the new Huddersfield coach. It is Ian Watson.
The big one for us is to make sure that we're at the right end of the table. Huddersfield have been at the bottom end of the table. I don't think they've been near the top end of the table for quite a number of years now. And it's for us as a group and as a team to change that and start making ourselves into a recognised force in rugby again, because everything about the club's set up to be a top 4 club. It's just making sure now that we achieve that by working together and making sure that we're better prepared in all aspects than what we were before. Obviously, when you go into a new club, pre-seasons, especially last pre-season, was a really short one as well. So trying to get players up to speed was always going to take longer than what it normally would do. So having a little bit of a longer pre-season this time has probably helped with moving clubs, because it's been able to bed a few things in and then consistently repeat them and go over them to make sure that hopefully by the start of the season we'll be up and running and everyone will have confidence in what we do, and we'll be able to show that in our performances.
Ian Watson, right, loads of new signings, but one player still there who in glimpses last season looked fabulous, Aidan Caesar.
Yeah, I mean, Caesar was a great signing, wasn't he? And he led Huddersfield around the pitch, and working with Ian Watson, who himself a scrum half, I'm sure he'll only add to Caesar's game. I've got to give it a mention as well. One player I'm really looking forward to seeing this year for Huddersfield. I think he could be one of the stars of Super League. Is young Jake Waddle. He's shown some glimpses of world class for Huddersfield. And if Huddersfield as a team can improve, I think he'll be one who'll shine.
Can they get in the playoffs?
No, they can get in the playoffs. Yeah, of course.
Is that the aim, do you think, for Watto this year?
Yeah, 100%. Watto will have his targets on as high as they can, and make that road to the grand final as easy as possible. But the playoffs is a must.
I don't think we'll see the best Huddersfield team at the start. It's a new coach, lots of new personnel, so they'll take a bit of time to get used to each other. But I think halfway through the year they'll be in the straps, and I think they'll be up there. They'll be a match for the big boys. So excited, disappointed to see him leave Salford, but excited for him personally, and excited that there could be another Huddersfield Giants, another playoff team there.
Well, let's talk Salford. Obviously, they've got a new coach now, and it's Richard Marshall. Let's hear from him.
It's an exciting time for us. We put a lot of hours in on the training field. I'm sure every other coach and every other team has, and we've implemented some of the practices, some of the ethoses and the ways we want to play in practice. And we've had a good couple of pre-season friendlies, but they count for nothing now. It's business end of the season, at the start of the season. We're looking forward to that now. As a coaching staff and a medical staff and S&Cs, we've reviewed our practices, what we've done over the last 11 weeks. We're really happy with where the players are at. We've got some really good data and metrics on the improvement from the squad from week 1 to this week. It's been tough. We've broke a few as well along the way and built them back up and adapted and tested and adjusted the program. But at the same time, it's been really, really engaging. I'm really happy with the way the squad has performed over pre-season, but it's about what we do for 80 minutes on the field. It's a team game, and not one player is more important than any other player in our group, and that's me included. I think we've got a fantastic work ethic, and that will win us some games. But at the same time, we've improved our skill level. Our defensive attitude and mindset, I feel, has changed over the pre-season, and as I say, it's an interesting time for all coaches. We're really looking forward to taking on the champions next week.
Right, Scully, you'll obviously know him from being assistant at St Helens.
Yeah, great bloke, Richie, and obviously was around the St Helens team that won it last year. So he'll know things that are going to help Salford to perform this year. It's a funny time at Salford. Obviously, new coach, a lot of new players. They've lost a lot of players and some.
They've signed about half a Wigan, haven't they?
Yeah, and they've lost some talent, to be honest. Niall Evans, Gale Dudson, Joey Lussick, to name three, who were key for Salford over the last couple of years in their challenge for silverware. But I think they've signed players who have got that potential now to secure, key positions. Players like Det Patton, Harvey Levette, who've struggled to secure places in different clubs. So now moving on to Salford to stake a claim to kickstart their own careers.
You obviously had a fabulous career, Leeds, Warrington, Sydney. Salford's in your heart. You've had an unbelievable couple of years, haven't you? A Challenge Cup final and a Grand Final.
Yeah, it's a fantastic time to be a Salford fan, which I am. And Scully just mentioned the players who are leaving there, and he's right, they are talented players, but that's the same as Salford every year. I don't think they've lost as many players this year, at the end of last year, as they normally do. So hopefully, they've kept the nucleus there, and they've made signings.
It's no secret, it's tough financially, isn't it?
Yes, without a doubt. But they've kept the nucleus of the squad
Paul
together.
King does a brilliant job off the pitch.
He does. And the players have signed in are quite handy. So hopefully, as a playing staff, they can take you've got to say, successful last couple of years, making these major finals with a winning mentality. Hopefully they can take that, going forward into 2021. So obviously, it'll be tough for him going up against Saints at the first game, but I'm excited. It's a very, very decent squad, and I'm hopeful they're gonna compete well this year. Speaking of Richie Marshall, actually, during the week, he's loving it at Salford.
They're happy with pre-season as well, aren't they?
Very, very happy with pre-season. He said, even though it's a club not got the most finances, but he loves the training ground. He loves the little gym they've got. He's really, really excited, and he's worked under some great coaches. So hopefully he can bring out the best in Salford. But I'm excited for him, and we'll see how they go.
I hate rushing through all the teams, by the way, so if we do rush through your team, we will be featuring you throughout the season. We've got to talk about Castleford. Obviously, the headline is Darryl Powell has announced he's leaving.
Yeah.
The longest serving coach in the Super League.
Yeah. I think a funny time to announce it at the beginning of the year that you're leaving. I'm not sure.
Because it can work two ways, can't it? It can work like the lads really want to go and win it for you, or sometimes they can take the foot off the gas, can't they?
I just think it's, there'll no doubt be players at Castleford who are disappointing that he's going to leave. They've got a full year with him, but that he will be leaving after that. So I think it's a funny time to do that. Everyone's going to put two and two together that they've announced that Warrington, Steve Price is gone, Darryl's. There you go, make of it what you will. But it's a big year for Cass. They've had disappointments last year. They've got some great up and coming young players. Jake Truman's the obvious one that stands out. And
has he solved his fullback problem? You mentioned him early on. Niall Evans.
Niall Evans is a cracking player. I'm a big fan of Niall. I love everything that he did at Salford. I had the pleasure of working him at England Knights, where he was outstanding. He's an ultimate professional. I think that's a massive signing for Castleford. He adds that strike. He's got blistering pace and a real talent. And along with that, likes of Truman and young Danny Richardson, who is another 12 months more experienced in being a number one scrum half. Whether Castleford have got enough to compete with the top boys, I'm not sure.
Hull KR, Moz, and one of your mates is back, Ryan Hall.
Yeah. He's the record England try scorer, if I'm right there. But great to have him back over here. His stint down under didn't go as well as he would have liked, or anyone else would have liked. But he'll be happy to be back in the Super League and working under Tony Smith for as long as he did. I know they've got a fantastic coach there, so another year under Smithy, they'll be a bit more settled as well. They'll probably still struggle. If you look at all the other squads in Super League, they've probably got one of the weaker squads. But I love Sean Kenny Dowell, Ryan Hall, and they'll compete. But whether they can crack the playoffs, I'm not too sure really.
And what's success for Wakefield this year, Scully?
Well, Wake, knowing Chris Chester, they'll want to compete, and make that top 6 as well. It's probably been a tough off-season for Wakefield as well. A lot of changes in their playing staff, and for me, Jacob Miller's their key player. Again, whether Wakefield have got enough to do what they did, the other year, and really challenge these certainly top 6, top 4 places, I'm not sure.
I think last year they had a horrific injury list, and they've not got as big a squad as other teams. So if they can keep all the players fit, they've got a chance. But if you stick 2 or 3 injuries there, I think they might struggle a bit.
Well, let's hear from the Super League new boys. The Lee Centurions are back in the big time. Let's hear from Ryan Briley.
I think not just for me, but just for the club in general. I think a lot of hard work got put into the bid and the application behind the scenes. So it's probably more on us players now to make sure that bid was justified. So yeah, really exciting. The boys had a real tough and good pre-season, and we're just ready to go now. Yeah.
Obviously, slightly different circumstances. The way that you found out you'd be playing Super League football this year. What were those emotions like around that day, and when you found out you were going to be a Betfred Super League side?
Yeah, definitely. I think it was a crazy couple of days. I first signed my contract when I was in the Championship, knowing this could be a possibility. So just a ray of emotions, really, and just more buzzing for the club. Obviously, it's a club that's been close to my heart for a number of years now. So to see the work, what they've done is probably a little bit different in terms of when players normally earn the right for promotion. We probably didn't really do anything this year. We kind of got it given to us. So we're here by default, such as players. That's why there's going to be a lot of emphasis and a lot of effort being put into making sure we stay here and give ourselves a good account of ourselves, because we don't want to be that team who kind of keeps yo-yoing between the 2 leagues. We want to make sure we become a strong established Super League club, and we're doing everything in our power to achieve that.
Yeah, these Centurions are back. How are they going to do?
There's certainly going to be no shortage of enthusiasm, is there, from Lee? Whether they've got the squad and the big enough squad. There's talk already of Lee struggling for players to start the season. But for me, the big question is they've got a lot of playmakers in that squad. Ryan Briley's one of them. Jamie Ellis, Blake Wallace, and Joe Mellor as well. So there's a lot of organisers, but have they got the strike to convert that into points? And that's the question.
It was tough for him, the manner in which they come up to Super League. They were behind the 8 ball in terms of recruitment, and all the best players were took up, etc. So if they can keep all the majority of the 17 fit and on the park, they've got a chance, but they are up against it. But I'm really pleased for Lee. It's another derby for Salford and Wigan, and there's another team in the northwest. But it's going to be tough. But I think their aim this year is just to survive, and then hopefully they can recruit again and go again in 2022.
So it kicks off on Friday night, St Helens, Salford, Lee, Wigan. All the games this weekend are live on Sky. But we had live action last weekend in the Betfred Challenge Cup. So let's finish with Try of the Week.
Hello and welcome to the Our League Try of the Week. I'm Dave Woods. Let's have a look at this week's contenders. Try number 1 of this brand new season comes from the Challenge Cup tie between the Sheffield Eagles and York City Knights. Ben Jones-Bishop is the man who finishes this excellent move for the Knights. Try number 2 comes from the tie between Barrow against Oldham, and this is Barrow winger Ryan Shaw, who shows exceptional speed and evasion down that left-hand side to score a real eye-catcher. Try number 3 and Gideon Bowafo. We'll have to get used to this again. Wingers being absolutely acrobatic with their finishes in the corner. It was a big day down in Llanelli for West Wales Raiders, with Gavin Henson and Rangi Chase making their debuts against Widnes. But it was Widnes who ran out easy winners, and this was one of their better tries. Dion Cross with this marvellous break. And just when he needed it, support provided by Jake Spedding, who had the pace for the corner. Try 5. Everyone loves an intercept, especially if you're the man who's on the receiving end. Mike Butt here with a great pace and then the step back on the inside to beat his man and score a crucial try for Swinton against Newcastle. And from the same game, Newcastle desperate to try and get themselves back level in the late stages. But as it turns out, just a little too desperate. Rodri Lloyd with the interception and making a wonderful passage down the middle of play. And just when he needs support, here's Geronimo. Geronimo Doyle sprinting away to win the game for his side. You know what to do. Get voting for which of these is your favourite.
And we're bringing you that every week. And if you want to watch some live Challenge Cup this week, live on the Sportsman, Featherstone versus Batley, 12:45 Saturday, and Sunday at 5 o'clock, Widnes versus Whitehaven. Plus there's games live on the BBC website and Red Button, and there's games on the Our League app as well. So plenty of Challenge Cup to enjoy. But let's just finish on the Betfred Super League very quickly. Thanks for all your comments. Most popular suggestion on social media, is it Wigan, is it Saints, or is it someone else, Lewis?
According to social media, Mark, all 12 teams are dead cert to win the Betfred Super this year. I think, looking at it, it's the two we've spoken about. It's Wigan and Saints. Take your pick.
Fellas then, well, you're going to say Saints, aren't you? I'll ask you a different question. How much are you looking forward to this season?
I can't wait, mate. You know, it's I think, you know, on the back of what we saw last year and the finish, you know, it's been a long off season. Just can't wait to see some live rugby and, you know, get the Betfred Super League back.
Saints for Scully and the hat trick.
I'm going to go for Warrington. I mean, I think obviously Saints and Wigan will be up there, but it always is. But this is Warrington's year.
Gents, I've really enjoyed your company. I'm looking forward to doing shows with you throughout the season as well. And thanks to everyone at the RFL and the Super League who've got us this far as well, because I know a hell of a lot of work has gone on behind the scenes, because obviously it is so difficult with COVID-19 right now. But the Betfred Super League starts on Friday. Can't wait. And if you're having a bet this season, please keep it fun, gamble responsibly, and we'll see you again next Tuesday at 7 o'clock. Be lucky.
What a moment for Halifax Rugby League.
Austin is through and Warrington dominating.